Caris. Kill the last unbeliever who disturbed the sleep of your beloved.
The epic Egyptian story. The age of the pharaohs, of discoveries, and walking death. Welcome another classic from Terence Fisher, The Mummy. An archaeological dig in Egypt, decades before the digs, which saw many discoveries, including the tomb of Tutankhamun. A man warns the party to leave the site alone, but it's rejected. Tombs of a princess and a high priestess discovered. A scroll with the power to bring life to the dead is also discovered. While inside, the lead archaeologist suffers a breakdown and is sent back to England, where he then tells the tale of a mummy that has walked again.
It's the scroll of life.
Christopher Lee plays the mummy, replicating the same movements as Frankenstein's monster. Silent, lumbering, yet walking death. It's quite reminiscent to Gort. Peter Cushing plays John, son of the lead archaeologist. Yvonne Furneaux plays Isabel and the princess. Her filmography makes for interesting reading. Having previously worked with Errol Flynn and director Michelangelo Antonioni, her next role was in Fellini's La Dolce Vita, one of the 20th century's most iconic movies. With the typical Hammer faces, there's this guy, Eddie Byrne, who played General Willard in the original Star Wars. The usual suspects are back behind the camera. Director Terence Fisher, writer Jimmy Sangster, cinematographer Jack Asher, and designer Bernard Robinson. James Bernard is absent. In their place is the legendary composer Franz Reisenstein. His score contains rich Egyptian themes with the familiar Hammer gusto. One of the great things doing this particular season is I get to look through the full cast and crew and finding those who went on to do some pretty big things. Here, I recognize this guy, Harry Oakes, the special effects man on Superman, Flash Gordon, and Aliens. A century ago, the world was gripped with the stories and extraordinary discoveries from Egypt. And then came the Boris Karloff classic. Of course, this isn't quite a remake of the 1932 movie. Since this is Hammer territory, it's their interpretation. Wiki explains, though there are a few minor nods to the original, this version takes from the later movies in the 1940s. The fanaticism of keeping or leaving the dead resting peacefully versus the need to bring them back, to show them off in museums, has been something so hotly debated and will continue to do so. I personally think they should have left alone after Tutankhamun was discovered, since there were so many, I guess you will call them robbers, hoping to make it rich. We still have many in our museums that should have been returned to their native lands, but that's not for me to debate in this video. This completes the three big Universal horror, where Christopher Lee plays the Abomination. The baseline is set. Expect fear. Expect gore. Expect blood-curdling screams. It's a shame that Hammer didn't make The Invisible Man, and I don't know why. What The Mummy and Hammer did was to close out the 1950s, declaring to the world that they were the new generation of horror, and we're going to continue breaking more barriers than you've ever seen before. I checked the Rotten Tomatoes score on its wiki page, and yes, at this moment in time, it's 92% fresh. Nina Wilcox Putnam was, shall we say, less than happy. The big three in full Technicolor, but in no way were they made to replace or deny Karloff or Lugosi. Todd Browning, James Whale, and Carl Freund. I've said influential a lot in this series, where Frankenstein and Dracula effectively used some striking special effects. The approach here was nuanced, but the tension, the danger, the fear, the performances in front of and behind the camera was still of a high quality.